My husband got his mistress pregnant while I was miscarrying our child. 5 years into my marriage with Marcus, I discovered he was secretly preparing to divorce me for another woman. Still in love with him, I decided to fight for our marriage. Just as he was about to hand me the divorce papers, I beat him to it. I showed him my pregnancy test results. That night, Marcus stood on our balcony smoking until dawn. The next day, he broke up with her. 6 months into my pregnancy, that woman showed up at our door with her wedding invitation. Marcus, my wedding is tomorrow. If you ask me to stay, I'll cancel everything. She left the invitation and ran out crying. Marcus stood up to chase after her. Clutching my cramping belly, I called out to him. Marcus, if you walk out that door, I'm getting an abortion. He froze for a moment. Then he left anyway. Chapter 1. I discovered Marcus was planning to divorce me when our company's legal department kept asking me to sign documents. Change of corporate ownership. Change of business accounts. He was also selling our properties at below market prices. The company that had been thriving 6 months ago was suddenly showing losses month after month. Marcus was constantly traveling for business, sometimes for 2 weeks at a time. When I asked, he claimed the company was in trouble and he was trying to turn things around. I didn't call out his lies. I didn't tell him I'd seen the viral video of him kissing her at a Taylor Swift concert. Some gossip blog had even featured it as CEO caught in steamy PDA. The only reason I stayed silent was because I still loved him. 5 years of dating, 5 years of marriage, a decade together couldn't be erased by simple infidelity. So when he came home with hickeys on his neck, reeking of her perfume, when he moved into the guest room and refused to touch me, I pretended not to notice. But while I didn't want a divorce, Marcus clearly did. The lawyer drafting his divorce papers happened to work at a firm I'd secretly invested in. So I knew exactly how conflicted and frustrated he'd been during the process. I even knew when he planned to serve me the papers. To save my marriage, I went to a fertility clinic for IVF. The night before he planned to ask for a divorce, I called him home. Marcus was irritated by my summons. I'd cooked his favorite meal, but the housekeeper had to reheat it 3 times before he finally showed up. He didn't even glance at the food. Seeing me on the couch, he gave me a curt nod and headed for his study. After showering and stalling for 2 hours, he finally emerged. You said you had something to tell me? What is it? His tone was cold, professional, like he was addressing an employee, not his wife. I said nothing, just handed him the test results. I'm pregnant. 2 weeks. Marcus stopped breathing. The veins on his hand gripping the paper bulged. I knew why he was so shocked. My mother had died in childbirth with my brother. I'd witnessed too many women sacrifice themselves for marriage. So from the beginning of our relationship, I'd told Marcus I was child-free. I would never have children. Blinded by love then, Marcus had agreed without hesitation. But as we aged, he'd started mentioning wanting kids more frequently. Each time I refused, sometimes harshly accusing him of breaking his promise. Yet here I was with pregnancy test results. He took several deep breaths before finding his composure. Thank you for compromising for me. He stood abruptly, clutching the results, knocking his knee hard against the coffee table in his haste. Sorry, I'm just shocked. Let me process this. He fled back to his study, slamming the door. The sound echoed through our house. Only then did I notice the fruit knife I'd been gripping had pierced my palm. Blood dripped into my water glass. Chapter 2. I smelled cigarette smoke all night. Though our rooms were separate, the windows were close. The thick smoke meant he'd gone through many packs. The next day, HR informed me that Marcus's new secretary had resigned. The business transfers halted. The company resumed normal operations. Hearing this, I stroked my still flat belly and cried into my pillow. I'd saved our marriage without letting it end in manipulation and coldness. Marcus returned to his loving husband act. He accompanied me to every prenatal appointment. He researched postpartum centers obsessively. He'd already bought enough baby supplies to last until the child turned 10. He did everything an expectant father should. Yet he still slept in the guest room. He never touched me, not even casually. I even caught him masturbating to her photos and videos. Pathetic, yet painfully ironic. Like now she'd brazenly come to our house. She'd thrown down her wedding invitation with cryptic threats before fleeing. Marcus's first instinct wasn't to explain. It was to chase after her. When I called him back, threatening him, he turned on me with vicious fury. Rachel, I've already come back to this family for you. What more do you want? She's getting married tomorrow. Can't I even say goodbye? I looked at his furrowed brow, the unconcealed disgust in his eyes. I wiped away the tears that fell unbidden. No. You can't. Marcus, if you go after her today, I'll abort this baby. His entire body went rigid. He stared at my face for what felt like forever before spitting out, Rachel, you're fucking evil. His words made my chest seize with pain. Evil? Me? I'd turned a blind eye to save this marriage, to keep him. I'd betrayed my own principles, endured painful injections until my stomach was black and blue, just to give him a child. I'd tried so hard to keep him. How did that make me evil? Tears streamed down my face. But not even my tears or our unborn child could stop Marcus. He kicked the couch in frustration. Fine. Get the abortion. Do whatever you want. I'm going to her no matter what. Then like some 20-year-old hothead, he ran after her. Watching him leave, I dialed 911 with shaking fingers. Yes, Marcus had made his choice. Now it was time for mine. Abort his long-awaited child and destroy him completely. Chapter 3. The ambulance took me to the hospital. I'd intended to get an abortion. But halfway there, I started bleeding. This wasn't surprising. During the initial consultation, doctors had warned me repeatedly. At 35 with health issues, I was high risk for miscarriage. They stressed avoiding emotional distress. For 6 months, I'd endured. I read philosophy books, studied meditation, anything to stay calm. But his mistress pushed too far. Daily photos of them in bed. Vicious messages. Calling me an old hag. Calling our baby a bastard. Sending videos of deformed babies, saying that's what mine would look like. Now she'd shown up with fake wedding invitations to provoke me. And Marcus? One look at her tears and his heart melted. Even threatening him with our child couldn't make him stay. Maybe losing the baby was for the best. Its father didn't love it anyway. The pain in my chest was suffocating. During my 5-day hospital stay, Marcus never called once. He didn't even know we'd lost the baby. But he'd changed his social media profile picture to a couple's photo with her. Our bank account showed $1 million withdrawal. I didn't understand this sudden boldness until my lawyer visited my hospital room. Sophia was pregnant. Looking at the photos he brought, I laughed bitterly. Over 100 pictures. Every single one showed Marcus holding her hand adoringly. Him at her prenatal appointments. Him shopping for groceries with her. They even wore matching wedding rings. My chest seized with pain again. Tears filled my eyes. Marcus used to look at me like that. Now his world revolved around her. Seeing me cry, the lawyer tried to comfort me. It's just a divorce. I wiped my tears. Right. Just a divorce. No big deal. Besides, I had more important things to do. Fighting back sobs, I looked at the lawyer. Do we have enough evidence for bigamy charges? He nodded immediately. Yes, I've compiled everything. What about the tax evasion evidence? Is that ready? 6 months ago it wasn't enough, but now it is. And the bribery? All set. I gripped the photos of Marcus and Sophia tightly. How long would he get with all charges? The lawyer checked his files. About 8 years. Tears filled my eyes again. Not enough. He needs at least 20. After all, Marcus had promised to take care of me forever. 20 years in prison for a lifetime of freedom. Since he loved Sophia so much, he'd surely agree. The lawyer nodded. I'll make it happen. After he left, I watched birds fly past my window and cried again. Never trust men. Marcus had become exactly like his father. Chapter 4. I spent another 10 days in the hospital. Marcus never contacted me once. But he was busy transferring assets, selling properties. I continued playing dumb. When I finally went home, Marcus was there. Seeing the housekeeper helping me inside, his eyes went straight to my belly. He exploded with rage. You actually aborted our baby? How could you be so cruel, Rachel? Watching his fury, I let go of the housekeeper and stumbled toward him. Through tears, I slapped him repeatedly. You blame me for the abortion? The baby miscarried. You'd barely left when I collapsed in blood. Marcus, how could you be so heartless? Your daughter died while you were playing house with your mistress. I spoke through gritted teeth. Though I'd planned to abort, losing the baby still devastated me. Perhaps my desperate tears finally stirred some humanity in him. He actually hugged me tightly. I'm sorry, Rachel. I didn't know. I really didn't know. Feeling his warmth, I gripped his suit jacket. Marcus, stay with me for 10 days. Just 10 days. Then I'll divorce you. You can be with her. My tears moved him to rare gentleness. He wiped my tears softly. Okay. 10 days. Seeing his expression, I said nothing, just dug my nails deeper into my palms. I wasn't keeping Marcus for love. I was giving him one last chance. When we married, cynical about fidelity, I'd told Marcus I'd give him 3 strikes in our marriage. First strike, I discovered the affair. I played blind. Second strike, he wanted to divorce me for her. I got pregnant to save us. Third strike, now. I desperately hoped Marcus would turn back. Chapter 5. For the first 3 days, Marcus was perfect. He personally cared for me during recovery. At my request, he even moved back to our bedroom. Seeing his gentle attention, for a moment I thought he might choose me again. But by day 4, the phone calls started. The frequent departures. On day 4, Sophia showed up at our house. She looked at my flat stomach mockingly. Oh look, the old woman lost her baby. Serves you right. At your age, playing at being young and pregnant. Marcus didn't defend me. Instead, he apologized. Sorry, Sophia's been moody with pregnancy. Hearing him call her Sophia so tenderly, I suddenly realized Marcus had never used pet names for me. Always my full name. So even at our best, I'd never compared to her? My chest ached again. Sophia moved right in, even bringing her luggage to the master bedroom. Watching her bold provocation, I said calmly, "Get out. This is my house." She laughed mockingly. "Your house? Didn't you know? This place is in my name now. If I wasn't so kind, you wouldn't even be here." "Fine, since Marcus promised you 10 days to reminisce, I'll graciously allow it." Marcus had transferred even this house. This home full of our memories. That's why I'd asked him to spend the 10 days here. Pain radiated through my chest. Seeing my tear-filled eyes, Marcus grew anxious. "I'm sorry, Rachel. The company's been struggling, accumulating debt. I had to sell the house. I never imagined Sophia would buy it with the money I'd given her." His unnecessary explanation hurt. Even more. So Marcus loved Sophia this much? Gave her all his money. Even our home. I held back tears, choking out, "Fine. Since it's Sophia's house now, she can do what she wants. Marcus, help me pack." Starting with the 3rd floor, with all my portraits. I stood and headed upstairs. Marcus studied art in college. When we were happy, he loved painting me. He used to say if he wasn't in business, he'd be an artist. And I'd be his eternal muse. But entering the studio, Sophia sneered, "Marcus, didn't you tell your wife?" He repainted everything using my photos. I turned to Marcus in disbelief. He looked ashamed. I laughed bitterly. If even these paintings weren't unique anymore, why keep them? That night, I had the servants burn every painting in the garden while they watched. After that, I destroyed one room's contents daily. From the 3rd floor to the living room, everything Marcus and I had shared smashed and burned before them. Sophia seemed thrilled by my destruction. Marcus occasionally showed flashes of pain watching me destroy things. I thought he was moved by the memories. But he'd just add, "Such a waste." That was expensive. Each comment stabbed like a knife. By day 10, I was exhausted from destroying. Burning, even the pain had numbed. Sophia smugly slapped divorce papers on the table. "Had enough drama? Sign and get out." She threw a check at my face. "Here's Marcus's generous 5 million. Take it and leave my house." Holding the check, I couldn't even cry anymore. I looked at Marcus one last time. "Marcus, are you really not coming back to this marriage? When we married, I said I'd give you 3 chances to stray. This is the last one. You're sure?" Marcus hesitated. Sophia threw hot milk in my face. "Rachel, seducing my husband right in front of me? Have you no shame?" She turned to Marcus angrily. "Marcus, don't forget I'm carrying your son." She emphasized son heavily. It reminded me of my lost daughter. No wonder Marcus chose Sophia so decisively. The hot milk burned. But I calmly stood, picked up the pen, and signed the divorce papers. Then I tore up the check. "Thanks for not leaving me with debt in the divorce, Marcus. I don't want the 5 million. I'll leave with nothing." I walked out empty-handed from the home I'd lived in for 7 years. Perhaps my desperate calm finally affected Marcus. He chased after me. "How will you live without that money? Take it, Rachel. Stop being stubborn." His last words to me were still calling me stubborn. Tears filled my eyes again. "Marcus, you make hating you feel like a waste of time." He reached for me again. Just then, uniformed officers arrived. They approached Marcus coldly. "Mr. Chen, you're under investigation for tax evasion. Come with us." Seeing the handcuffs, Marcus's eyes widened in panic. "Who reported me? I haven't evaded taxes." I wiped my tears, took a deep breath. "I did, Marcus." Marcus froze completely. I didn't look at him again, just walked away. Behind me, Marcus screamed my name hoarsely. Just like I'd screamed for him to stay that day. He hadn't stayed for me then. I wouldn't show mercy now. Chapter 6. My mother taught me this move. On her deathbed after losing my brother, she'd said her last words weren't about taking care of myself. They were about destroying my father. She'd clutched a USB drive containing evidence of all his crimes. At her funeral, 8 of his mistresses showed up. Each with sons. Watching them vie for position while my mother's corpse lay there with sallow skin, I finally understood why she desperately tried to give him a son. She couldn't win alone. So she'd sacrificed herself and the baby. All to give my father his precious son. To save her marriage. But my father was too busy to attend her funeral. So after the burial, I anonymously submitted all evidence to the authorities. They arrested him that night at his mistress's house. Naked, screaming about his innocence as they dragged him away. Innocent or guilty, his wife of decades would know best. So in my marriage to Marcus, I'd loved him completely. But I'd always kept evidence for total destruction. Marcus's company entered bankruptcy proceedings. Once arrested, he was never granted bail. During this time, his mother called countless times. Crying, begging me to save him. I told her calmly, word by word. I reported Marcus. He killed our baby. This is his punishment. I sent her the video of me bleeding in the ambulance. She never called again. What surprised me most was Sophia. She actually knelt outside my new house. Please, Rachel, I'm begging you. Find a way to free Marcus. I was wrong. I'm sorry for how I treated you. My baby needs a father. Looking at her tear-stained face, I lifted her chin. Pretty when you cry. No wonder Marcus loves you. Since you love him so much, shall I send you to prison too? Her face went white. She scrambled up and fled. I watched her run calmly. Running was pointless. If running worked, I'd have escaped this marital hell. I was only sparing her because she was pregnant. I had principles about not harming pregnant women. But once that baby was born, she'd face her reckoning. Marcus's case moved quickly. My lawyer privately confirmed. 20 years, guaranteed. Even hearing this, my chest still ached. After all, I'd loved him once. Seeing him fall this far brought no joy. But days later, the lawyer returned. Marcus wanted to see me. I agreed. At the detention center, I wore simple white clothes. Seeing me, Marcus's eyes turned red. Rachel, I was wrong. Please, I'm begging you. I know I hurt you, cost you our baby, maid. You hate me. In here, I dream about when we first dated. You always wore white. Like an angel. Even when you were cold to me, I was crazy about you. Hearing his tearful voice, I calmly corrected him. Marcus, I never wore white when we were together. I thought our love was beautiful. I didn't want white to describe it. So I wore red, pink, bright colors. I'm wearing white today because I'm attending your funeral. 20 years you might not survive. Consider this advance mourning. Marcus stared in horror. His gentle expression turned hysterical. Rachel, are you even human? 10 years together, 5 dating, 5 married. Even divorcing, we should part amicably. But you sent me to prison. I never hid anything from you, but you destroyed me. I looked at his twisted face calmly. Marcus, you look exactly like I did when I begged you to stay. I cried, asking you to come home for dinner. I cried, saying I missed you, please come back. That was my expression then. And you. Looked like I do now, cold, heartless, forgetting our history. You called me evil, but what did I do? You committed crimes yourself. I didn't hold a gun to your head. I just reported criminal behavior. But you? During our marriage, you slept around, got her pregnant, secretly transferred assets. You had over 100 million but only offered me 5. You thought you were so clever hiding assets that I'd never notice. But Marcus, I loved you, I wasn't stupid. You brought your mistress home, gave her our house, and thought I wouldn't know? How little you must think of me. Marcus's face went white. If you wanted more money in the divorce, you could have asked. Why send me to prison? I laughed mockingly. Would you have listened? Your heart was already gone. You never considered that your company was built with my money, that I stood by you when you had nothing. You fell for another woman. If you'd just apologized, been less cruel, I wouldn't have been this ruthless. Finished, I stood to leave. Seeing me go, Marcus cried out desperately, Rachel, I'm wrong. I'm truly sorry. Please, I'm begging you don't hurt Sophia. Do whatever you want to me, just don't hurt her or the baby. Hearing this, I turned back. I pulled out a medical report from my purse. Marcus's fertility test from 6 months ago. Sperm count, 0. Seeing it, Marcus's eyes filled with tears. He looked at me with shaking hands. I said calmly, Marcus, you're such a fool. You think Sophia really loves you? She just wanted your money. My baby was conceived with sperm you froze 5 years ago. Congratulations, you killed your only child. I left without looking back. Outside, my lawyer looked surprised. Mrs. Chen, you should have given me that evidence earlier. I smiled faintly. It's fake. The lawyer's eyes widened. I continued calmly, it's not for court. As long as Marcus believes. It's real enough. Chapter 7. Marcus believed it completely. That night, I heard Sophia had been beaten by unknown assailants and miscarried. I held my own pregnancy test results for a long time, unable to process it. I'd asked myself countless times if my baby had survived, would I have aborted out of spite? The answer was no. Maybe I'd initially rejected motherhood. Maybe I'd used pregnancy to manipulate Marcus. But I genuinely loved that child I never met. The familiar ache returned. But I didn't grieve long. I grabbed my purse and went to the hospital. We'd shared a man once. I should visit. At the hospital, Sophia lay pale in bed. For a moment, she reminded me of my mother. I almost considered mercy. Then her phone rang. Hello, lawyer? Can we pin this assault on Rachel? Since they can't find who did it, why not her? No witnesses? Then create some. How much? Hearing her venomous plotting, I smiled mockingly. Women should never be soft. As Sophia hung up, I entered. Seeing me, she went crazy. Rachel. Why are you here? You destroyed Marcus, killed my baby, come to finish me off? I'll make you pay for my son. Watching her hysteria, I pulled out a thick stack of papers. Sophia, I'm not here to argue. I'm here to collect. Her eyes widened in panic. What debt? I smiled again. Marcus transferred many businesses to your name, right? Unfortunately, those companies all owed money to one creditor. 20 million total. I own that company. Since they're bankrupt, I'm collecting from you. She thrashed violently. How? Why? Looking at her panic, I smiled wider. Sophia, you're so naive. Why did Marcus put those companies in your name? He knew they were failing. He needed a scapegoat to protect me. Her pupils dilated with shock. Impossible. Marcus wouldn't do this to me. I continued calmly. Sophia, want to know who ordered your beating? Marcus. He promised me he'd get rid of your baby once you two were together. I showed her a photo. Marcus meeting with the man who'd orchestrated her assault. Her face turned gray. I stood and left. So much for undying love. With enough misunderstanding, no love survives. Finding love is hard. Destroying it? Too easy. As I left, her monitors started blaring. Hearing her anguished screams, I just smiled. Fair enough. After all, that's how I lost my baby too. Chapter 8. Sophia hemorrhaged and needed emergency surgery. Days later, Marcus's verdict came. 20 years. I attended his sentencing. Seeing me in court, he shook and sobbed just like my father had years ago. From the gallery, the only words he'd said during detention were apologies. Watching him cry, I truly didn't understand what he was sorry for. Growing up, he'd never hugged me once. Never kissed me once. Just because I'd helped his lawyer try to reduce his sentence while he was locked up. But seeing me there, Marcus also shook and sobbed uncontrollably. During his first family visit after sentencing, he grabbed my hands desperately. Rachel, if I hadn't cheated, would we have been okay? I shook my head. Marcus, even with the cheating, we could have been okay. When we married, I promised 3 strikes in our marriage. I endured. And hoped, wanting you to come home. But finally, when I convinced myself to have your child, you still caused the miscarriage. So Marcus, don't call me cruel. I had no choice. He cried harder. I'm sorry, Rachel. I was blinded. I'm so sorry. Watching him mirror my father's tearful guilt, I still didn't understand. If you'd feel guilty, why hurt me in the first place? Leaving detention, I put Sophia in court next. I demanded she return everything Marcus gave her. I demanded she pay his debts. She couldn't pay. The court declared her bankrupt. I sold the debts to collection agencies at 50%. The money didn't matter. But I instructed them to harass her regularly. For 20 years. Minimum. After all, someone who loved Marcus so deeply should save herself for him. With everything settled, I packed and left the country. This place had become ruins. I never wanted to return. The end.